Let's return to the Nedbank Cup. The last 16 draw will be conducted this evening as onlookers still catch their breath after a massive upset last night. NFD side Milford FC sent Kaizer Chiefs packing and will be in tonight's draw. Yolulwe Qoshe is looking ahead to the draw. He joins us live now. A very good evening, Yolulwe. Well, Chiefs certainly was one of the teams that we were expecting to see in the round of 16.
Well, a very good evening to you in Studio Valen as well as to the viewers at home. We are here with 16 teams that have booked their passage into the next round of that Nedbank Cup. They all are expected to learn the fate in just a moment's time. Of course, we know the Nedbank Cup to be a tournament that is synonymous with those David versus Goliath type of fixtures as well as results. But I must be honest with you, that sometime during this particular weekend, I didn't think that the Davids and the Goliaths were too familiar with how that story goes. In fact, I even saw myself going to my phone to try to verify that maybe I am the person that has the facts wrong. But then the Nedbank Cup gods seem to be brewing it up for that last game of the last round of 32 fixture for that big upset, of course, with Milford FC, a team from the Motsepe Foundation Championship, pulling off the biggest upset of the round, beating a team which is the most successful in this competition, Kaizer Chiefs, 5-4 on penalties. Now, with that particular victory, Valen, they have put themselves into a long list of teams from the lower divisions that have gone through this competition, having claimed the scalp of Amakosi just in recent times. My memory serves me correct. The likes of Richards Bay FC, Amatux, FC Baroka as well as TS Galaxy, the most famous of them, beating the Kaizer Chiefs side in a cup final of this competition in 2019. So with that penalty victory at the FNB Stadium, their fairy tale run continues, and I'm sure the people in KwaZulu-Natal will be happy with that particular feat. But there are teams in this tournament, Valen, that will not be wanting to see that fairy tale go for too long. We, of course, still have the big hitters in Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, who did not have any such issues when it came to play against lower division opposition over the weekend. Both of them hitting their respective opposition for 6. La Masia on the side of Mamelodi Sundowns, as well as Crystal Lake FC for Orlando Pirates. Also, another giant, albeit a sleeping giant, many might say, in Morocco Swallows. They also had to do it the hard way against lower league opposition in Platinum City Rovers, beating them 3-1 in the Val on penalties. But with all of the turmoil that's been happening for their particular club off the field, well, they seem to be due a bit of luck, many would say, Valen.
Yolulwe, do you see any of the lower division teams, depending on how the draw goes in the round of 16, do you see any of them posing a threat to the bigger teams in the next round of the competition?
Well, Valen, I must say that I was very impressed by the way that Milford FC did structure themselves against Kaizer Chiefs. So a little bit nervy in the first few minutes, of course, with Ashley Dupree almost opening the deadlock for Amakosi, but his shot just went over the bar from just underneath the bar itself. But after that particular period, they seemed to assert themselves. They seemed to be well organized. Even when they lost one man during the extra time, they didn't seem like, a team that was panicking. They just reverted back to their structures. They went back and also just saw how they can improvise and see they came through to penalties. A very well organized outfit that can also cause problems to the other teams going forward. So I do back them, depending, of course, with who they get in the draw. But, well, when you knock out the most successful team in the competition, Valen, does it really matter who you get in the draw? The confidence is definitely going to be up for them. Also, looking at the likes of Amatux, well, they are a team that defeated Cape Town Spurs, another David versus Goliath situation earlier in the week. They're a team that is currently at the top of the Motsepe Championship. And with that particular league, it's called the jungle for a reason, Valen. You need to have a bit of grit. You need to have a bit of fighting spirit, determination for that to come through. So if you are at the top of that particular league, that means your confidence is up. That means you've got the determination required to go all the way. So they could cause a few problems for the top division teams or even a lower division team should they draw one of those here in the round of 16 draw that we are expecting to see later on in the evening, Valen.
So I suppose the University of Pretoria also are a team that know what it's like to play in the top division of South African football. So we've got both Mamelodi Sundowns as well as Orlando Pirates through to the next round of the competition. I was almost both of them wanting to lay down a marker, as both of them scored 6 goals against their respective opponents in the round of 32. What are the chances that these two heavyweights will actually draw one another?
Well, Valen, this competition is known to draw those type of ties very early on. But I'm sure for the sponsors, they'll be looking for that tie to come later in the competition, maybe in the semi-final stages. I mean, we saw in the Nedbank Cup last year where we saw a final between Stellenbosch FC as well as TS Galaxy. My colleague Vuyo Macoba was at the Moses Mabhida Stadium to witness that particular encounter. And from my vantage point, it seemed like it wasn't the most filled up Moses Mabhida Stadium ever. And that you can't run away from the fact that those teams might not have the marketing or the attraction pool of a giant. So maybe the sponsors might be looking at that and saying, well, can we keep these big hitters apart and then draw them in the, business end of the tournament, rather just to keep, the hype in this tournament. But on the side of the football lovers of South Africa, they might be looking at it in a purist sense, saying that should we have another final of a similar ilk of a TS Galaxy and the Stellenbosch FC, or even if we have one of the big teams playing against one of the relatively smaller teams, that could then speak to the growth of the local game, saying that the gap is starting to get smaller and smaller, and football is becoming more competitive in the country, no matter which team you play for, and saying that the coaching levels and the talent pool in South Africa is very strong. So it depends which side of the coin you fall on, Valen, but as a spectacle, I'm sure, the sponsors will say, let's hold on a bit with those big hitters. Maybe we might see them in a final or even a semi-final. But football purists as well might also just want to see the big teams eliminate each other very quickly. So the fans of either Orlando Pirates or Mamelodi Sundowns can breathe a little sigh of relief, saying, okay, now we are the favorites going into the latter stages of this competition.
Yolulwe Qoshe out at the SuperSport studios. Thanks so much for chatting to us. That draw taking place at 6 p.m. this evening, Stephen. I have more sport for you in the next hour.